Hey, everybody. Good evening. Hope everybody's doing good out there. Clearly, another busy day in the continuing saga of Antonio Brown. So here we are. I just wanted to get on board and talk to you guys a little bit and get your kind of take on what's going on. We are live on Periscope, i.e. Twitter, if you're watching us there. Also on YouTube. I said Facebook, but we decided not to do that. We are going right here to talk about what happened today. So where are we? As most of you know, because I know with Raider Nation, you guys don't miss a lot, but we are in another situation where now Antonio Brown has again filed another grievance with the NFL over the helmets that he has sent to the league for certification because of the new rule in the NFL. We already saw yesterday that Mike Mayock came out and in essence issued an ultimatum. Brown responded to that. Apparently he showed up, according to reports from the great Bay Area media up there who covers the team, including Vic Tafur from The Athletic and Scott Barrett, just about everybody up there, reporting that he was back in Alameda today. They did not have practice, I should say, in Napa. They did not have practice. They broke camp today as they prepare for Thursday's game in Canada against the Packers. So we'll see what's going on. But it's interesting because I've sort of changed my view on this as I wrote today. If you missed my column, which you can find at CBS Sports Radio 1140's website, as well as our own website, you can read it on both sites. It'll link back to it for you. But I have been a staunch defender of Antonio Brown throughout this process because he followed the letter of the law. When it comes to the NFL, he filed his grievance over the helmet, and it was heard by an independent arbiter who denied it. So they go back. He comes through, goes to walk through on Saturday, then is not there Sunday. And we heard from Drew Rosenhaus's agent who said, look, it's far from done. There are still other avenues to explore. But clearly, Mike Mayock playing bad cop, which he should do. He is the general manager. And you need to keep your coach in line with the players, and don't think for a minute that John Gruden isn't lockstep with him on that. But certainly there was an issue there, and now the Raiders are kind of over it. They figured it was over as of yesterday, and they issue that ultimatum, and it continues. So we see the grievance. But my whole point was, as I mentioned, the fact that he filed the grievance, not a problem. In fact, I said all along, and I defended him on our show yesterday, I said all along he went by the letter of the law. He didn't do anything out of regular parameters, so you can't fault the guy. I criticized some members of the media for covering it the way they did, making it sensationalized. Now, as I said at the lead of my column, I looked like I had egg on my face there. But yeah, I think Unknown Raider guy, yeah, I think AB will be back. I'm not saying he's not going to play for this team, but clearly the longer this stretches out, the more of a distraction it becomes for the Raiders. And I think that is not a good thing overall. And so you have to look at it from this perspective. I get it. He's comfortable with his helmet. He's had the same helmet since he was a rookie. At the same time, Tom Brady, other players of large stature in the NFL, Aaron Rodgers, ran into the same issue. And guess what they did? They changed their helmet. Now, I get it. Everybody's got their own thing. Some people are superstitious. But the bottom line is here, this team will be so much better. Hey, JT, man, love your work. Thanks for watching. But I love the fact that Antonio Brown works as hard as he does. There's no questioning his desire to play football. I think anybody who's out there questioning, does he want to play for the Raiders, especially when it comes from somebody like Randy Moss, is disingenuous at best. Look, Antonio Brown will be a big part of this team, but is this an irritant right now? I think it is, and I think that they have to get back to really getting him back out there. So they're going through another grievance. Again, the system is set up that way, so you can't really fault him. The question is inside the organization, of course, as someone who covers the team from outside the organization, it's impossible for me to know. I'm not going to speculate on how Mike Mayock or John Gruden feel because I don't know. But clearly yesterday, I think Mike Mayock was sending a signal, and today Antonio Brown was there. So he's there. So I don't think you can criticize him for staying away. I think there was some fair criticism of him for not being around the team. But again, from the outside perspective, I'm not up in Napa every single day like those beat writers are up there. Until they get to Las Vegas, I won't have that opportunity. But certainly, I think that some of the criticisms are unfair. And I think what's bothered me most about it, and despite the fact that I think this has to come to a resolution quickly, is the fact that so many people out there are rooting against them, the Raiders, are rooting against Antonio Brown and his success. They want him to fail. And I think that's, I get it. As I said, somebody who's been around sports, who's covered sports, the fact is that journalists will never tell you this straight up. But when you have to deal with a guy who's not the easiest to deal with, and we talk to folks from Pittsburgh, right, on our show, Antonio Brown is not exactly the most media friendly, and that's okay. Not every guy is. He doesn't have to be. As long as he comes out, does his press conferences like the team asks him to do, that's what he does. So some members of the media will carry that forward. And so if you don't treat them well, because most members of the media, they just want to do their job. And so if they want to talk to Antonio Brown and they want to get a quote, and he's not willing to do it, some members of the media, not all, not all, will hold that against a player for a long time. It happens in every single sport. We've seen it, basketball, baseball, you name it. And so what's happened is I think you're seeing this. You're seeing the Pittsburgh media who have openly rooted against Antonio Brown since he joined the Raiders. And then you join the Raiders, right? So there's a distinct audience out there who hates the Raiders because of the history of the team, because of the excellence that they've had in the past. Yes, it's been a dry few decades here, but at the same time, it just is what it is. Him going to the Raiders was going to perpetuate that, and certainly we're seeing that now. But from my standpoint, I think Antonio Brown is such a key part of this team. He'll be on the field week one. I don't have any doubts about that. I know a lot of people do, and some of you fans out there, being someone like myself. And I get some people who give me gruff over this. I'm not a fan. I'm trying to be as objective as I can as we cover the team on our show and on our website. And so I don't root for the team. I don't look at it from a fan's perspective. I try to look at it in the middle there. Whereas on our show, we have Chaz Osborne. He's more of a fan, former Lakers scout. He's been in professional sports, but he grew up a Raiders fan. So he kind of looks at that from a different perspective than I do. But with Antonio Brown, they need to get him out there, and I think they will. Listen, training camp. Let's talk about training camp. How much does a guy need to be there? I think somebody like Antonio Brown, besides the foot injury with the cryotherapy thing, look, this guy works so hard. You saw during the offseason his regimen, his workout. This guy's going to be ready. He doesn't need camp to become ready. What he does need camp for, and what he needs to do is be able to work with Derek Carr. Now, they've been working together in the offseason, but yes, they need to get that rhythm together, but they're working on it, and I don't think that it's going to be any big deal. And to me, this is much more a story that has been sensationalized. It's a story, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the media shouldn't cover it nationally, but the way that it's been covered by some, to me, has been sensationalized. But it is a concern. Listen, the team has got to get him in the fold, and it looks like today they did. So I'm not sure why people are going to get so down on Antonio Brown. I get it. Everybody wants him there. I think it's a situation where people are frustrated because they just want to see him play. It's not that they're frustrated with Antonio Brown because he's a different guy, because he tends to walk to the beat of a different drummer in some ways. That's fine. That's what makes life fantastic, is the fact that we're not all the same. So for me, it's not a big problem, but I would like to see him get out there, and I would like to see him and Derek Carr start clicking. I mean, let's face it, that's what everybody wants to see. But I'd love to hear what everybody out there has to say, because I can say it all day long, but I have seen, I think, other people, including all of you guys out there, all of you fans of Raider Nation, talking about it today. Some are kind of turning on Antonio Brown. I don't understand how you do that. The guy hasn't even stepped on the field yet, and while that might be frustrating for some of you, remember that he is there. They just gave him the 2-year extension, $50 million plus. He's going to be a big part of this Raiders franchise moving forward, including when they get here to Las Vegas next year. So I think everybody needs to, as I always say, and if it offends you, I'm sorry, but get your panties in a bunch about it. Just relax. Everything's going to be cool. You can't get caught up in the hype of what others are reporting and talking about outside of the team. The bottom line is we don't know what's going on inside. Yes, Mike Mayock came out strong yesterday, but there was a reason for that, and it looks like today it worked because Antonio Brown was there with the organization. So I'm not as concerned about it as everybody else, but everyone outside of Raider Nation, of course, is going to drum it up. Meanwhile, all of the things that are happening in Dallas has been Ezekiel Elliott's holdout, and what Jerry Jones said after the game where he said Ezekiel who, interesting. So that would be headline number one in the NFL if it wasn't for Antonio Brown, but I'm just not that worried. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say out there. And I see you guys popping in there, so I appreciate that very much. But what do you guys think? I'm over on Facebook. Everybody says here it'll work out fine. That's what everyone outside Raider Nation does. If you're not a fan, man, this Antonio Brown drama is annoying. Yeah, that Raiders fan on YouTube. Yeah, I know it's annoying because you want to see him play. That's the bottom line. Everybody wants to see him play, and it'll happen. I'm not that concerned again, but. Interesting that he has filed this second grievance, but clearly there is the process. He filed the first one. The independent arbiter said no, and now he's found a couple other helmets that they've sent for certification. So we'll see. He may end up getting that helmet. Everybody thinks, nah, it's done. They're just going to deny it again. We'll see. If it keeps him off the field, then that could be a concern, although they have 2 preseason games left. Antonio Brown's not going to see a lot of action in those preseason games anyway, especially they're going up to Canada now on the turf. Why would you put him in there anyway? Maybe for a few plays. Even then, I wouldn't with him coming off an injury to his feet. So I'm not that concerned about it. Skin peeled off his feet, Ingle Rick says. Hey, Rick, I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but we'll see what goes down as that all happens. But so, Raider Nation's an interesting place. All of you. Stephen Bonsall over on YouTube, Gruden, Mayock, good cop, bad cop. Well, you need to. I think that's, last year, John Gruden was painted as the bad guy all the time and did that creep into the locker room? Again, I don't know. But Mike Mayock taking that role, I think, was very, very important. And so, to me, that was a good sign. It was a good sign. Mike Mayock was asserting himself as the chief executive from a player personnel perspective with the Raiders. So good. Good cop, bad cop works from the perspective of somebody's got to do it. Let your coach the players on the field and let them do what they need to do to win ball games, because that's what John Gruden's there to do. Yes, he's got a bigger role than most head coaches. We know that. But that's all good. I mean, we have to see what happens there. But to me, Mike Mayock coming out like he did yesterday was good. It also, I think, let people know that the Raider organization doesn't have endless patience. They've stood by Antonio Brown through this entire process, which is great. If I'm Antonio Brown, man, I'm feeling great about being on the Raiders because despite the fact it's kept him away from the field, and yes, that's been an irritant for them, and we'll see tomorrow when we watch Hard Knocks how much of that creeps in from on the TV side of it. But to me, that's something that is a big deal, and we'll see how it all unfolds. But I will tell you this as well: the Randy Moss thing today. If you didn't catch it on Monday Night Football on the ESPN broadcast, there was Randy Moss questioning whether or not Antonio Brown wants to be a Raider, which is, for all of you Raider fans, I know very ironic, considering what happened with Randy Moss in his time with the Raiders. So what do you guys all think of that? What do you think of Randy Moss sort of calling him out? Was that just more of the sensationalism, more of the, hey, look at me, we're talking about this, let's be something that motivates people to talk about what we're talking about on ESPN? I think so. And so I don't know. You guys have a very mixed reaction to Randy Moss, I find. And May Spitfire, I think Mayock needs to keep his opinions like that in-house. It could have ended badly. I would tell you this. Mike Mayock's a really smart guy. I have a lot of respect for him. I know some people poo-poo him. Oh, he's a TV guy coming over. He's never been a GM. He's never been a player personnel. He's never been an executive in an NFL team. He's a smart guy. I have a lot of respect for him. He did it because he had purpose. And if that purpose was to just get Brown around the team, even if he's not on the field, it worked. So May Spitfire, I understand what you're saying. You do keep things in-house, and I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that's kept in-house. But I will tell you this, it worked. In my view, it worked because if that's what his intention was to tell Brown publicly, because sometimes you need to do that, tell him publicly in a way that he can understand that, hey, we're with you, we love you, but you're either all in or you're out. And so I think he was just asserting himself as the executive there so that they know that the team's in control. Because you have to. You can't let one person dictate the entire team. There's the rest of that roster. There's the rest of the organization. And to me, that's why May Spitfire, he went out. And yes, speaking his mind, it's about time. Look, I got nothing against Reggie McKenzie. Great guy. Only met him a few times, but fantastic person, and respect what he's done too. At the same time, he was not that kind of vocal guy. I think the Raiders needed it. I think they had it when they had Al Davis, the Hall of Famer, the legend Al Davis. Now you have Mike Mayock coming out and saying, "Look, guys, we got other guys out here working their tail off. You need to come out and get ready to play football." So I'll agree to disagree with you on that, May Spitfire. But that Raiders fan agree. Mayock, you need somebody out there doing it, and to do it and to make it not be John Gruden, I think was a good call as well. So we'll see like that what happens as we move on down the line, if you will. But I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. So they got this game coming up against Green Bay. We talked to Ted Wyman from the Winnipeg Sun yesterday about the game because it has not been selling well. That's not the Raiders' fault. It has nothing to do with the Raiders. The NFL picks a promoter in the market when they do these international games or neutral site games, and the promoter priced the tickets too high, frankly. And so with that, they had trouble selling the tickets. And I think if the NFL is going to grow internationally, they need to get people to sample, right? So if they're going to get people to sample the NFL, why not price the tickets the same price as you do for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers? It's a big football town. And the Packers are a beloved team in Canada, as we've come to find out. So and the Raiders with their brand, there should have been no reason that game didn't sell out except for the pricing. It's a preseason game, and to start charging at $140, they've since lowered the prices to $75 as a way to get people enticed. And it looks like it's working a little bit, but it'll be interesting how Canada works out. But I think that there's always an opportunity to grow the NFL in international markets. In Canada, as if you saw the South Park movie, our hat, America's hat, our great white North neighbor is ready to go. So yeah, premium prices for that. That's what they charged for that game. But hopefully we'll have. Now going into this game, I'm interested to see how much the starters play, if at all, because I know they were concerned with the turf. There were some comments about that. But overall, I like the way camp has gone. I like the way the preseason has gone. Clearly, that first series with the number one offense minus Antonio Brown against Arizona was fantastic. Everybody looked good. I like to see Josh Jacobs. I'd like to see more Josh Jacobs, but we're going to have to wait a couple weeks for that. 21 yards on 8 carries, including that one nice 8-yard scant where he cut back and showed his athletic ability. So I'm excited about Josh Jacobs and all the guys. Actually, I think they're looking good. I mean, they're looking to be much improved. The win total here in Las Vegas, the line is 6.5 is held there. I've seen a lot of predictions of 5 or less wins. I've seen predictions of 9 wins. I'd be interested to hear what you guys have to say. What do you think the Raider win total will be? And look, being a fan is awesome. Being a fan who thinks that their team's going to do great, nothing wrong with that. I'm more of a realist. I think the line at 6.5 is the right line because of that schedule. Schedule's difficult, so we'll see how it all happens. But the one thing, and you might have seen it run down on the screen, you'll see it here in just a second. We are going to London, Silver and Black today on CBS Sports Radio. We're going to be broadcasting live from the Raiders-Bears game right before the game starts in London, and you can go with us. That's right. We put a trip together with our friends at Travelbee. And you can go to london2019.silverandblacktoday.com and book a trip with us. They'll book flights and hotel for you, all one price. And then you can also buy your game tickets there and join us. I would love to have you guys pub crawl with us and enjoy some pints. Myself, Chaz Osborne, Kelly Kreiner will be over there, and you'll be able to hear the game live as long as we get on the air, which I'm sure we will. The UK is a technologically advanced country. I'd be more concerned if it was somewhere else, but we're going to be over there. We'd love to have you guys join us. If you've never been to the UK, you should give it a shot. I mean, what better way to go over there than to see your favorite football team, right? So we're looking forward to that and want you guys to come over as well. In addition, we are also going to be live in the beginning of September. So a month before that, September 8th, Sunday morning, our regular show from 8 to 10 a.m. on CBS Sports Radio 1140, radio.com, streaming nationwide. We're going to be at the Ickey Woods Golf Tournament for the Javante Woods Childhood Asthma Foundation, and there's going to be former Raiders there. There's going to be all kinds of athletes there as well, and so we'd love to see you there too, and have you listen. If you're in Las Vegas, that is, of course, come out to the golf tournament. Hey, if you're in LA or the Bay Area and you want to come down, it's a great tournament. You can check out. We're going to talk this weekend with someone that you may know, a former Raider. I'm not going to tell you yet. We're going to tease you on that one. Former Raider running back is going to be joining us on the air. He's part of the golf tournament. He will be joining us to talk about it. But we'd love to have you out there. We're going to have all sorts of guests live on the air from the golf tournament and talk a little bit about that. So join us with that. Now, with the Javante Woods Foundation, we have actually a very cool thing going on. It's a football sweepstakes. I'm just going to put it up here on the screen. Through Charity Mania. These are sweepstakes tickets, $20. You can buy them online. We'll tweet out the link, or you can find it actually on our Facebook page too. But you can actually buy one of these tickets, 17-week contest, $20. You can win $400 a week, $17,000 for the year, 1 in 16.6 chance of winning a weekly prize. We also have last place, second place, third place. It's a really cool thing. All the proceeds are going to go to the Javante Woods Foundation. I'll present Ickey Woods. I might even do the Ickey Shuffle while I give him the check when we broadcast live from his tournament. So make sure you check that out, and it'll be a lot of fun. And if you haven't already bought a ticket, please do. We would appreciate you guys coming on and helping us out there. So, but I'm here. Talk to me, Raider Nation. Let me know what you're worried about, what you're thinking about. Kalen Doss, to me, man, I think he's going to make the roster. Do the Raiders carry 6 wide receivers? That's the question. We'll see what happens. But I like what he's doing. Tyrell Williams, that's going to be the most underrated guy going into this season, in my view. Yes, Antonio Brown's going to be there, but when they double Brown, Williams will be open. And, of course, Hunter Renfrow, who we haven't seen a ton from in the preseason, but I think we'll see more action for him over the next couple weeks. But I like him there as well. So there's a lot of guys on this roster. It's a good problem to have, as I've said a couple times in the columns I've written and stories I've written about the Raiders this year. Is they, at wide receiver, they had some tough decisions. You can't keep them all, but I like the competition. I love John Gruden. He came in last year, and he had that rough transition year with some of how he was running the team. But this year, the competition in camp, what you're seeing there, what you're seeing at running back, what you're seeing in the defensive backfield, right? LaMarcus Joyner, obviously a huge addition to this team, and I think that's going to pay massive dividends in the end. So I'd love to hear what you guys think, and what player are you most excited about? Also, love to see that both Mo Hurst, Arden Key playing really well, and that's going to be big. PJ Hall, I'm concerned about, but we'll see what they do with him. But to me, a lot of these guys on defense, too, that defense looks to be much improved this year. It had to be. And if they can put some more pressure on the quarterback with the upgrades they've had at safety and at cornerback, I think that this team surprised. Now, that's where I'd said the Raiders, 6.5 wins. I see them at 6 or 7 wins. But if they can steal 1 or 2 games, they can get to 8-8, 9-7. I don't think that's going to get you in the playoffs with the Western Division. Now, unless the Chargers, who already appear to be falling apart because of the holdout with Melvin Ingram and, of course, the injuries they've had, Derwin James, of course, with the bad injury. So now the Chargers, again, are banged up. So it seems like that happens every single year. Broncos, I'm not worried about. They're getting better. I watched a little bit of them tonight. And, of course, the Chiefs. So you have the Chiefs, Chargers, and then the Raiders. Most people picking the Broncos ahead of the Raiders, which I don't think will happen. But to me, could they sneak 8, 9 wins. I think they could, but again, I wouldn't get disappointed if they don't make the playoffs. If they're going in the right direction, to me, that's the most important thing. You have to look at that. It's about winning games, don't get me wrong. If they had another 4-win season, it would be a huge disappointment. I don't think they will. I think they're at least 2 to 3 games better, perhaps more, depending on how the ball bounces. You never know. Injuries impact other teams. Injuries can change the whole scope of a playoff race, so we'll see what happens. But what do you guys think? What's your take on the number of wins this Raider team will have? I'd love to hear from you. So pop in there, whether you're on YouTube or Periscope, and let me know what you think. Brown will be wearing a leather helmet. Hey, shout out from Stockton. All right, go Raiders. Go University of Pacific, right? The Tigers. Been there many, many times when I worked at UNLV. But yes, the media eat this stuff up. Look, I'm a member of the media. I don't mean to cast dispersions, but not everybody is being, I think, as objective as they should be with the Antonio Brown situation. I'm just going to call it like I see it on that one, and let the pieces fall where they may, because I just, it's the way I see it. And that's not just because I cover the Raiders. If I thought it was the opposite, I would tell you, but I don't think it is. I think it's exactly the situation as we just see folks wanting to root against Antonio Brown. And because of what happened in Pittsburgh, it carried over, that negative carried over. Then you add in the whole Raiders thing, and there's a portion of America, and there's a portion of the media who still don't like the Raiders. A lot of it now focuses on the ineptitude of the team from a wins and losses perspective over the last 18 years. But a lot of it also goes back. Remember, some longtime journalists were around and they covered Al Davis. Not everyone liked him or revered him as many do for the pioneer that he was, for the maverick that he was. He changed the game. There's no question about that. But not everybody likes that. So it is what it is. But we wanted to just jump on and chat with you guys a little bit today and talk about it and really just comment on what we're seeing with Antonio Brown and this new grievance. We'll see how fast it goes. My guess is we won't know resolution on it until next week. Now, does he get out during workouts and walkthroughs with his helmet on, with a helmet on? We shall see what happens there. But anyone's guess is as good as mine. And I'm going to spend tomorrow morning, when I wake up nice and early, to kind of research a little bit on the helmet issue and what can be done there, because I get it. It's again, Tom Brady had to change his helmet this year. Aaron Rodgers had to change his helmet this year. Antonio Brown is a player. I like what Rich Eisen said today. He said, go get the kid. You can be a Hall of Famer. You are a Hall of Famer. Get on the field. Get out there playing. But for whatever reason, Antonio Brown, the helmet's a big deal for him. So we'll see how it all plays out. But preview of our show coming up next Sunday. Of course, the Raiders play on Thursday. We'll talk about the Packer game, what went down there, what we saw, what we liked, what we didn't like. We're also going to be joined by our good friend Mo Moten from Bleacher Report. Mo's going to join us and give us his take on the game, his take on this ongoing helmet issue, and the Raiders overall. We also will have, as I mentioned, a Raiders running back, which we will let you know who that is in a few days. And in addition, we'll have some other guests, including someone else from the media who is a great guy that we have on the show a lot. So we'll talk about that as well. We're also going to be talking about Hard Knocks. So Hard Knocks tomorrow night. Again, episode 3, episode 2, we talked about it. Was much better than 1. 1's always a setup episode. So when people were disappointed, my point was just wait for it. And sure enough, it did not disappoint. This time, I think we'll see it again. I think there'll be more Brown drama, obviously, because of that. Some people think it's been made up for the show. I don't think so. I doubt it. In fact, 99% doubt it. But it should be interesting tomorrow to see some of that. And then, of course, I think we'll be introduced to some more players and catch up with others like Jonathan Abram and Derek Carr, of course, who's got to be a star of it. And we'll see how that all hands out. But I'm sure you'll be watching along with us. We'll live tweet it. We'll also have a column up after the show talking about what we saw and what we liked and didn't like about Hard Knocks episode 3. So want to thank everybody for joining us tonight, and drop us a note anytime. Make sure you subscribe to us on Facebook and hit notifications. The way YouTube now, the way YouTube is with subscriptions. If you subscribe, it's great, but you might not be notified when we're live or we have a show coming up. So make sure you hit the notifications bell if you're on YouTube. And then, of course, here on Periscope, you can catch us anytime, including in the Periscope app, after the live broadcast is done. We'll also upload the video to Facebook for those of you who missed it, or if you want to watch it there or let somebody know to watch it there. So we'll do that. And as always, we appreciate your support. Without you guys, we're not here. And so I'm always cognizant of that. Thank all of you. We don't always agree, and you guys often will hold us accountable when we make mistakes or say the wrong thing, and we appreciate that. We really do. And it's one of the reasons we love talking about the Raiders and talking to Raider Nation. There's no fan base better, and it's been a fantastic journey thus far. It's only just beginning, and this year should be fun, should be exciting. I'm sure there'll be times and moments of frustration, but overall, it's going to be a blast. So we appreciate you guys being with us, and we will see you Sunday. If breaking news happens to come up before that, then we'll pop on live if there's a reason to do it. But we certainly thank you for being here inside the studios of Silver and Black today, i.e. my home in Las Vegas, Nevada. So we appreciate it very much. Again, check out the website, silverandblacktoday.com. Make sure you subscribe also to the podcast, and we'll get the podcast going when the season starts. In addition to the weekly radio show on CBS Sports Radio, which you can hear on radio.com, you can also subscribe on YouTube, Google Play, Spotify, Spreaker, SoundCloud, wherever you want to get your audio and your podcast, you'll find us there. There's no doubt about it. So just go ahead and check that out. That way you'll always get the show. We usually have the show up within a half hour after it ends on Sunday in case you have to miss it because you're at church, out jogging, or it's football season and you just didn't have time to listen to it. But we appreciate it, and we will talk to you soon. As we always say when we break off the radio show is, may the autumn wind always be at your back. We will talk to you, if not sooner, we'll talk to you on Sunday. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Have a great night.